I don't even know how to start this, but I need to get it off my chest before I lose my ing mind. 2 days ago, I came home from work early. My last meeting got canceled, so I figured I'd surprise my wife. We've been together for 8 years, married for 5. I even stopped to grab her favorite coffee on the way. Thought it'd be a sweet little gesture. I walked in and heard music playing upstairs, something chill like spa music. I smiled. She'd been complaining about neck tension all week, so I assumed she was just relaxing. But then I heard voices. A man's voice. Low, soft, and then her laugh. That laugh? It was the laugh she used on our first date. The one I haven't heard in months. I headed upstairs, still confused. The door to our bedroom was open just a crack, and I saw it. I saw them. She was on the massage table, naked, with our mobile masseur standing behind her, shirtless, his hands not where they should be. And her moaning. Loud. Not in pain. Not from a sore back. I froze. Time actually froze. She looked up, made eye contact with me. Her face turned white like she saw a ghost, and then, just like that, she grabbed the blanket and yelled at me. "What are you doing here?" Like I was the intruder. I didn't even say anything. I couldn't. My hands were shaking, coffee spilling all over the floor. I backed out, went downstairs, sat in the damn kitchen staring at the wall until I heard the front door open and close. He left. She didn't follow him. She stayed upstairs for 10 minutes. Then came down like nothing had happened. I can't sleep. I can't eat. My chest hurts like someone's been kicking it over and over again. I feel like my entire reality just imploded. We met 9 years ago at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was magnetic, confident, funny, beautiful in that intimidating kind of way. I was a bit more reserved, but somehow we clicked. She made me feel like I was someone interesting, someone worth paying attention to. We started dating a few weeks later and everything moved fast. Too fast, maybe in hindsight. But at the time it felt right. The chemistry was insane and we were inseparable. She'd always talk about how she loved strong energy in people. Looking back, I think that was just code for chaos. But I was too smitten to see the warning signs. We got married 3 years in. The wedding was beautiful. Small, intimate, expensive, my side. I was proud. I thought I'd hit the jackpot. She always had an eye for aesthetics, the type of person who could make a $5 candle look like a designer piece. She was social, always surrounded by people, always the center of attention. I liked that about her. I trusted that. Our relationship had its issues, sure. Mostly small things. She was impatient, impulsive. Sometimes she'd snap at me in front of people, but later apologize, blaming stress. I chalked it up to her being passionate. I convinced myself she was just fiery. And I loved her. Still do, in a way I hate myself for. I worked a lot. I run a small IT consulting business and the last 2 years were nuts. During COVID, I worked from home and we got used to seeing each other 24/7. Once the world opened back up and I started going back to client sites, things changed. The distance started to grow. We talked less. Her phone became her lifeline, always turned face down, always buzzing. I thought she was just more active on social media. We didn't have kids. She said she wasn't ready. I agreed, maybe too quickly. But now I wonder if she ever really saw a future with me or if I was just a safe chapter before the next thrill. Still, I believed in us. I believed we were just going through a rough patch. I thought love was enough. It wasn't. It's strange how hindsight sharpens everything. I can't pinpoint the exact moment things started to unravel, but there were signs, subtle ones at first. Little cracks in the glass that I ignored because I didn't want to admit they were there. She started booking more self-care, appointments, facials, massages, yoga retreats. Said it helped her mental health, and who was I to argue with that? I encouraged it. Hell, I paid for most of it. But it got excessive. 2, sometimes 3 massages a week. Always with Kai, this mobile masseur she found through some Instagram ad. "Kai just gets my attention," she said once, almost teasingly. I joked back, "Should I be jealous?" She rolled her eyes. "Don't be insecure. He's just really good at what he does." I didn't press it. I didn't want to seem controlling. I thought being a supportive husband meant trusting her, even when I felt the pit in my stomach forming. Then came the phone thing. Her phone used to be around all the time. We'd scroll through memes together, send each other reels. But lately, it was always locked, always on silent, always face down. She started taking it into the bathroom with her, even just for a quick pee. She'd jump if I glanced at the screen when a message popped up. Once I asked casually, "Everything okay? You've been glued to that thing lately." She shot back, "Are you seriously trying to start something right now? I get, like, one thing for myself and you're already suspicious." I backed off. Again. She had this way of making me feel guilty for even asking basic questions. Like I was being paranoid. Like I was the one with trust issues. I started noticing other things too. She stopped touching me, not just sex, I mean even the little things. No hand on the back when she passed me in the kitchen. No kiss on the cheek when I left for work. Just coldness. Polite, distant, performative affection if we had company over, but nothing real behind closed doors. One night, I woke up around 2 a.m. to pee and noticed she wasn't in bed. I found her downstairs on the couch with the lights off, phone glowing in her face. When she saw me, she jumped and locked it instantly. Couldn't sleep, she mumbled. She said it so casually, like she hadn't just scared the life out of me. I wanted to believe her. I needed to believe her. But something in me knew, deep down, that I was losing her. I just didn't know to who, not yet. I wish I could say there was one big, obvious clue that tipped me off. Something dramatic, like lipstick on a collar or a hotel receipt in her bag. But it wasn't like that. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts, and each one dug a little deeper. About a month before I caught them, I started noticing weird things. Stupid things, almost too small to mention, but they gnawed at me. Like how she started dressing differently for her massage appointments. Before, it was just leggings, sports bras, comfort clothes. But now she'd spend time getting ready. Like really getting ready. Makeup, perfume, even lingerie underneath. I saw it once when I walked into the bedroom as she was putting on her bra. Lace. Not your typical, I'm about to be rubbed down by a professional kind of look. I said something. I tried to joke. Babe, you dressing up for Kai now? She gave me this deadpan stare. Why do you always have to make it weird? There it was again, that snap, that way of turning it around, making me feel like the creep for even noticing. Then, one afternoon, I came home early, not the day, but earlier than usual, and found the house empty, or so I thought. Her car was in the driveway, but she wasn't answering her phone. I called twice. Texted. Nothing. I walked into the bedroom and noticed the massage table was out. Yes, she bought one, said it saved money if Kai could work from home instead of her driving to his studio. I was such an idiot. The sheets were crumpled. There was an open bottle of massage oil on the nightstand, one I had never seen before, and I usually buy them. There were 2 empty wine glasses on the dresser. Not 1. 2. And music was still playing through our Bluetooth speaker, some sensual, slow ambient track that didn't scream sports injury treatment. I waited in the kitchen for another 20 minutes before she walked in, startled to see me. She said she'd gone on a walk. Claimed she didn't hear her phone. Acted totally casual. I didn't bring up the glasses. Or the oil. Or the fact that the massage table looked like it had seen a wrestling match. I didn't say anything at all. Because the truth was already starting to bloom in my chest like poison, but I still wanted to believe I was wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went through her phone while she was in the shower. I know it's wrong, I do. But I felt like I was drowning and needed anything to hold on to. It was locked. New passcode. She'd changed it. That's when I knew. I knew my marriage was in danger. I just didn't know how far gone it already was. It happened 5 days before I caught them in the act. I was working late in my home office. She said she was going to have a massage session at 7 p.m. one of her stress reset nights. She kissed me on the head on the way out, her lips barely touched me. I think I knew it'd be the last time it ever felt like anything close to real. Around 8:30 p.m. I heard a weird chime. Her iPad, the one she barely used, was on the kitchen counter. It was synced to her phone. Notifications were popping up one after another, texts, photos, emojis. And then I saw it. A preview of a message from a contact saved only as K. Your body drives me insane. Then, can't stop thinking about earlier. You taste like honey. And finally, same time Thursday? I froze. I didn't even breathe. I just stared at that screen like it was speaking a language I suddenly understood all too well. She wasn't at a massage. She was with him. And they weren't even being careful anymore. I opened the iPad, no passcode. It synced everything, messages, shared photos, even some notes. Turns out they'd been using the iPad to share voice memos too. Voice F *** ing memos. Asterisk. I clicked one before I could stop myself. It was her voice. Low, breathy, whispering things I've never heard her say to me. Things she wouldn't even say during sex. Dirty. Wild. Almost like she was someone else. Someone free. That's what gutted me the most. She sounded happy. I felt something in me snap. Like a plate cracking in slow motion inside my chest. But I didn't yell. I didn't call her. I didn't do anything. I just sat there in the dark. listening to the woman I thought I knew tell another man how much she missed him, how she wanted him, how she was glad her husband, me, was too emotionally distracted to notice. She laughed after she said that. He laughed too, like it was a joke that I ever thought I mattered. I didn't sleep that night. I barely moved. I waited. I waited for her to come home, to lie to me, to kiss me like nothing had happened. And when she did, I kissed her back. Because I wanted to see how long she could fake it. Because I needed to be absolutely sure before I set everything on fire. And then, a few days later, well, you know what happened. After I walked in on them, her naked on the massage table, him standing there like this was just another client session. Everything went blank for a moment. Like my brain shut off the part that processes pain just so I wouldn't completely collapse right there in the doorway. I didn't scream. I didn't throw anything. I didn't punch the guy, even though I've never wanted to hit someone that badly in my life. I just stood there, holding her favorite oat milk latte, watching the woman I married scramble for a towel. He grabbed his stuff and bolted without even making eye contact. Coward. He didn't say a word. Not even sorry. Not even this isn't what it looks like. Just pure, pathetic silence. And her? She had the audacity to get mad at me. What the hell? Why didn't you call or text if you were coming home early? She said that. Those were her first words. I laughed. Like actually laughed. Came out bitter and cracked, because I think my body was trying to choose between laughing and screaming and just picked both. I said, I live here. I don't need an appointment to come home. She wrapped the blanket around her like she was the victim and sat on the edge of the bed like it was me who interrupted something sacred. Okay. Look, this isn't what you think, she started. I said nothing. Then came the flood of *T. It only happened a couple times. It was just physical. I felt neglected. You're always working. You don't touch me the same way anymore. Kai understood me. I asked her point blank, how long? She paused, blinked, bit her lip. A few months. A few months. That meant dozens of lies. Dozens of kisses, dinners, Netflix nights, and I love yous, all with this rot underneath. I asked, would you have ever told me if I didn't catch you? Silence. That told me everything. And then, the twist of the knife. It didn't mean anything. I lost it. Not violently, not physically, but emotionally. I broke. I told her she didn't have to worry about my time anymore. I wouldn't be wasting it on someone who couldn't even take responsibility for what she did. I walked out. I needed space or I was going to lose myself in that room. She followed me down the stairs, crying. Suddenly I was her baby again. Suddenly she made a mistake. She reached for my hand like it still belonged to her. Pulled it away. Because in that moment, something inside me finally started to wake up. The part that remembers who the hell I am. The first few days after everything went down are a blur. I felt like I was walking through water. Everything slowed down. Heavy, muffled. People talked to me and I nodded, answered, even laughed once or twice, but I wasn't really there. I was stuck in that room, holding that stupid coffee, watching my wife flinch as I caught her naked with another man. I stayed in a hotel the first 2 nights. Couldn't look at her. Couldn't even bear the thought of sleeping in the same house. She kept texting, calling, leaving voicemails that swung wildly between guilt, anger, and pity. Please come home so we can talk. You don't understand how I felt. You're not perfect either. Can we at least go to therapy? Therapy. Now she wanted therapy. Where was that 6 months ago? Where was that when she was lying to my face about taking time for herself? Where was that when she was moaning under a man she told me was just helping her with tight shoulders? I didn't respond. Couldn't. I was too busy trying to hold myself together in a Marriott with a minibar and cable news playing at 2 a.m., just so I wouldn't sit in silence and think about the sound she made when I walked in on them. I told my boss I needed time. He understood. I told one friend. Just one. He offered to let me crash at his place, but I said no. I didn't want to be around anyone. I felt ashamed, not because I did anything wrong, but because part of me still wanted her. Still wanted it to somehow not be real. I kept replaying the same questions over and over. Was I really that blind? Did she ever really love me? What the hell was wrong with me that she needed someone else? I knew logically that none of this was my fault. But the heart doesn't work on logic. It works on trust. And mine was just shattered. And yet, the worst part? Some small part of me still missed her. Still missed the good days. The way she used to pull me in for a hug from behind when I made coffee. The way she used to call me dork when I sang off-key in the car. That's the thing about betrayal, it doesn't erase love. It just corrupts it. Poisons it. Leaves it in you like a splinter you can't dig out. I was grieving something that was technically still alive. And that's a special kind of hell. You think when something like this happens, something this big, the world will rush in to catch you. That your people will rally, scream on your behalf, rage with you. But the truth? Most people go quiet. I didn't tell many at first. Just my best friend, James. We've known each other since high school, and if anyone could give it to me straight, it was him. I called him the night after I caught them and just said she cheated. With the Masseur. He went quiet for a few seconds. Then he said, "Jesus, you okay?" I wasn't. But I said, "I don't know." He offered to drive over, no questions asked. Brought beer, pizza, and silence, the good kind. We didn't even talk about her that much. We just sat on his porch, drinking and watching cars roll past like it was any other Thursday. It was the closest thing to peace I'd felt since it happened. But outside of him? The reactions got complicated. I told my sister next. She was shocked, yeah, but then came the classic line. "Are you sure it was cheating? I mean, was it really serious or just physical?" As if there's some acceptable level of betrayal. As if catching your wife moaning under another man in your bedroom could somehow fall into a gray area. When I told one of our mutual friends, she actually defended my wife. She's been really stressed lately. Maybe it was a cry for help. She always said you were kind of distant sometimes. That one stung, because it made me realize some people weren't just choosing sides, they were trying to balance the story like this was some breakup between two people who grew apart and not a full-on betrayal. And worst of all? Her silence. After the first few days of texts and calls, she stopped. No apology. No long explanation. Just quiet. Like I'd been deleted from the version of her life she wanted to live in now. It was like I died and no one sent out a notice. That silence honestly hurt more than the affair itself. Because it confirmed something I was afraid to admit. She didn't regret what she did, she regretted getting caught. This was the hardest part. Not walking in on them. Not hearing her say it didn't mean anything. Not even the silence afterward. No, the hardest part was the war inside me. Because even after everything, the lies, the gaslighting, the sheer disrespect, some part of me still wanted to fix it. Still imagined some twisted fantasy where we'd sit across from each other in a therapist's office and she'd cry and say it was the biggest mistake of her life. That she loved me. That she wanted to come back home. That we'd rebuild. Heal. That maybe, just maybe, she'd become the woman I thought she was. Every day I woke up with a different emotion. One morning I'd feel strong. Her. I deserve better. I'm done. By lunch I'd be scrolling through our old photos, wondering if I could have done something different. By dinner I was staring at the ceiling again, haunted by the sound of her voice in those voice memos. I hated her. I missed her. I hated myself for missing her. I thought about calling her more times than I'll admit. Not to yell, not to fight. Just to hear her voice. To see if it still felt familiar. That's the sick part, even after the betrayal I still craved the comfort of the person who caused the pain. I kept running through scenarios. What if we went to counseling? What if she really cut him off? What if it was just one horrible mistake? But every time I got close to entertaining those what-ifs, I remembered how she looked at me when I caught them. Not guilty. Not devastated. Annoyed. Like I had ruined her moment. That image snapped me back to reality every time I slipped. It wasn't just the sex. It was the deception. The calculated lies. The months of pretending. The coldness. The choice to betray me over and over, knowing I was still waking up each day trying to be a husband to her. You can't forgive someone who never even asked for it. And you sure as hell can't rebuild with someone who's still holding the matches. It happened in the frozen foods aisle at a damn grocery store. A week after I left the house, I went out to grab a few things. I was trying to function like a human again, make a list, buy groceries, cook something other than hotel microwave food. Thought it might help. I saw her favorite yogurt. Vanilla bean with granola on top. I reached for it. Out of reflex. Just muscle memory from years of picking it up without thinking. And then I froze. I stood there holding that stupid cup and everything just hit me all at once. Not like a punch, like ing flood. All the repressed pain I'd been holding back like a dam finally burst wide open. I dropped the yogurt and just fell apart. Right there between the frozen peas and the chicken nuggets, I started crying like I hadn't since I was a kid. Ugly crying. Chest heaving, hands shaking, tears pouring out of me like I'd been holding my breath for weeks and finally exhaled. People stared. Someone asked if I was okay. I nodded, said I just got some bad news. Which wasn't even a lie. Because grief isn't neat. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't care if you're wearing sweatpants in public or trying to hold it together in front of strangers. It comes when it wants and it wrecks you. That night, I went back to the hotel and screamed into a pillow until I couldn't anymore. I punched the mattress. I cursed her name. I cursed my own for being so blind. I stared at the ceiling until sunrise, wondering how the hell my life ended up like this. I wasn't just mourning her. I was mourning me. The version of me who believed in us. Who believed in her. Who thought love was enough. Turns out love means nothing if the other person doesn't choose you back. It didn't happen all at once. There was no grand moment, no inspirational quote that snapped it into place. Just a slow, steady shift, like waking up from a dream you didn't know you were having. A few weeks after the breakdown at the grocery store, I realized I hadn't checked her Instagram in days. I hadn't reread the texts, hadn't listened to the voice memos. They were still there, sure, still haunting the cloud like digital ghosts, but I wasn't feeding them anymore. And I started sleeping. Not great, but enough. Enough to get through the day without caffeine and rage. Then one morning I got a text from her. After almost 2 weeks of nothing. Can we talk? Just once. I stared at it for a long time. 6 words. So small. But behind them, years of love, betrayal, confusion, history. My thumb hovered over the screen. My chest tightened. And then something strange happened. I didn't feel rage. I didn't feel panic. I felt done. Not healed. Not over it. But done trying to resuscitate something that had been dead long before I realized it. I didn't text back. Not because I was trying to win. Not because I wanted to hurt her. But because I finally understood that peace doesn't come from closure, it comes from choosing yourself. It was a quiet kind of acceptance. No fanfare. No victory speech. Just a man sitting on the edge of a bed in a rented room, realizing he no longer needed to fight for someone who gave up on him a long time ago. That day, I booked an appointment with a therapist. I went to the gym for the first time in months. I called my mom and told her the truth, all of it. I stopped surviving and started living again. Because if she wasn't going to choose me, then I had no choice but to do it myself. Filing for divorce was surreal. It felt less like ending a marriage and more like signing off from a version of myself that no longer existed. I sat there in the attorney's office, hands clammy, staring at a stack of papers with words like dissolution, division of assets, irreconcilable differences, all so cold, so clinical. Nothing in legal language prepares you for the emotional reality of watching your life get categorized into boxes. She didn't fight it. When I finally responded to her "Can we talk?" text days after the fact, I told her I was done. I said we could meet in person to discuss logistics, nothing more. She agreed, asked if we could talk like adults. We met at a coffee shop. Neutral ground. She showed up looking different. Not physically. She was still her polished, presentable, composed. But there was something hollow in her eyes. Or maybe I was just seeing her clearly for the first time. The conversation was weirdly calm. She apologized again. This time, it felt more real, or at least more resigned. She didn't try to blame me. She didn't even mention Kai. She just said, "I think we both knew this was coming for a while." I wanted to argue, to say, "No, you knew." But I didn't. Because she was right in a way. Maybe I did know. Maybe deep down I saw the distance, the avoidance, the coldness, and just chose to ignore it. Maybe I loved the idea of our marriage more than the reality. We agreed to split everything fairly. No drama. No games. She kept the house. I didn't want it anymore. Not after what happened in that bedroom. I took my stuff, some furniture, the dog, thank God, he's been my shadow through this. We filed jointly. And just like that, 5 years of marriage reduced to signatures and initials. Walking out of that office, I expected to feel relief. Or grief. Or rage. Something big. But I didn't. I felt empty. But not the same kind of empty I felt before. This was different. Like a room that's finally been cleared out. Quiet. Bare. Waiting to be rebuilt. I got in my car. Drove for a while. Ended up at the beach. Just sat there watching the tide come in, letting the wind tear through me. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just breathed. And for the first time in what felt like forever, it didn't hurt to do that. Healing isn't some epic comeback montage. There's no dramatic music, no scene where you shave your beard off and suddenly become a new man. It's smaller than that. Slower. Quieter. It's waking up and realizing you didn't think about her first thing in the morning. It's folding your laundry and not suddenly breaking down over a pair of socks she used to steal. It's laughing at a dumb meme and not immediately thinking, she'd love this. It's you coming back to yourself. The first time I really noticed it, I was at the dog park. Just sitting there on a bench, watching my golden retriever lose his mind chasing a tennis ball. A little girl ran up and asked if she could pet him. Her mom smiled at me and I smiled back. That's it. Not flotation. Not anything big. Just a real, unforced moment with another human being where I wasn't dragging my pain behind me like a dam anchor. I started going to the gym again. Not because I wanted revenge. Not a look what you lost thing. I just wanted to feel strong in my own skin again. I wanted to look in the mirror and see someone who wasn't just the guy who got cheated on. I started eating better. Sleeping better. Reading again. I picked up journaling, something I never thought I'd do, and it helped. A lot. I even laughed until I cried one night watching an old episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. For a minute I forgot I was broken. Forgot she existed. Forgot everything that came before. That laugh? That was mine. Unshared. Untouched by her memory. And it was pure. I still have bad days. Triggers. Flashbacks. The occasional what if. But they pass faster now. The pain's still there, but it doesn't own me anymore. I survived. And now? I'm starting to live. Looking back, I don't just see a failed marriage. I see a version of myself I had to outgrow. I used to think love was enough. That if you gave your all to someone, if you showed up, stayed loyal, forgave quickly, compromised often, that would be enough to keep things together. But here's the hard truth. Love is not enough if it's not returned. And trust? Once broken, it doesn't grow back the same way. I learned that silence speaks louder than any lie. That when someone stops including you in their thoughts, their plans, their joy, it's already over. You just haven't caught up yet. I learned how easy it is to mistake manipulation for passion, excuses for honesty, and control for commitment. She didn't just cheat with her body, she cheated with her words, with her attention, with the parts of herself I thought were mine. I also learned that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. Sometimes forgiveness is just a quiet decision not to let someone poison the rest of your life. I'm still working on that part, not for her, but for me. And most of all, I learned this. Loyalty is not a weakness. Kindness is not naivety. Believing in someone isn't stupid until they use that belief to bury a knife in your back. The lesson isn't never trust again. The lesson is don't ignore your own instincts just to keep the peace. If something feels off, it is. And if someone shows you who they are, even if it's in small, quiet moments, believe them the first time. I lost someone I loved, but I found someone I'd forgotten, me. If you're reading this and you've just found out they cheated, if your world just cracked open and nothing feels real anymore, I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not crazy. You are not weak. You are not overreacting. And you sure as hell didn't deserve it. Betrayal doesn't just break your heart, it breaks your reality. It makes you question everything, your judgment, your worth, your past. You replay every moment, every conversation, every touch, trying to find the glitch. But the glitch wasn't you. You trusted someone. That's not a flaw. They broke that trust. That's on them. So what do you do now? You survive. First, you get through the next hour. Then the next day. Then the next week. You eat even if it's just toast. You sleep even if it's with a bottle of melatonin and a pillow that still smells like them. You reach out to someone, anyone, and tell the truth. Not the I'm okay version. The real one. You don't owe your betrayer closure. You don't owe them kindness or even a second of your healing. If they wanted your empathy, they should have protected your heart. And I know it feels like this pain will never end. I promise you it will. You'll laugh again. You'll trust again. You'll wake up one day and realize you didn't think about them at all. And then you'll smile, not because it didn't hurt, but because you survived the kind of pain that could have destroyed you and you didn't let it. So here's my final piece of advice. Don't chase the version of them you loved. That version's gone. Chase the version of you that you lost in the process. Because that person, the one reading this, hurting but still standing, is stronger than you know. You'll be okay. You really will. And one day, someone will love you in a way that never makes you doubt it. Until then, hold the line. Breathe. Keep walking. You've already made it through the worst part. You're free now. Thanks for reading. If even one person felt seen in this, it was worth sharing. If you heard this story, like it, write a comment, or just leave a smiley.